But we'll keep that are the beneficiaries of so many labors of love of other people. And with any awareness at all, you can notice that nobody does anything by themselves. We all have to be in community to get anything accomplished. We drink from a well we did not dig. So let's celebrate that. Okay? We are a spiritual community based on philosophy. Existential philosophy says that each individual has the ability to respond to life circumstances in ways that the individual chooses in a context. Existentialism highlights the individual freedom, the human being in the world. It is impossible to understand the human condition based on existential philosophy without acknowledging the individuality of each human and the individuality of their circumstances. Today, we celebrate creative, and we are the beneficiaries of East Antioch African American Baptist Church, who built this building over 100 years ago by hand, carving, laying each stone, and we get to savor and enjoy the fruits of their creative labor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We also acknowledge that we are on the ground of the Native American, indigenous people who populated all of these lands before they were brutally rounded up, killed, and taken to Oklahoma. And I'm from Oklahoma. It's hot as hell in Oklahoma. So we honor them too, and we celebrate their care for the land that we are the beneficiaries of. This service is not going to be normal. Of course, you know there is no such thing as normal. Normal is a statistical concept, right? It has very little relevance to human beings. But anyway, so this isn't going to be normal. If anybody has any community announcements, please write them down now and send them up to me now. Because we're doing community announcements a whole lot earlier, and Bill Laney, one of our founders, has paper and pencil for you to write. Great. Did everybody check to make sure your cell phones are turned off? Congratulations. That's great. As I was looking around and thinking about existentialism and creativity, of course, one of the most fundamental tenets of existentialism is that we human beings are free agents with the ability to create based on our own values and what we believe is important. Not something handed down by some god someplace, or not something preordained, but that each of us as individuals have that ability. And while I'm on that ability thing, I just want to highlight the Puritanism that has creeped into the existential concept of responsibility. I have responsibility. I hear people say that with dripping with guilt. like you better be responsible. Rather than the existentialists highlighted that what it really means is, thank you, Debbie, that we as individuals have the ability to respond. Yeah. So boy, that Puritan guilt stuff can creep in, man oh man, witness. I have no idea how long this service is going to be. So if you need to leave, please give yourself permission to take care of yourself. If you need to leave, go with our blessing. Smile and wave at us as you leave. Please. Are there any visitors here today that would like to stand and be recognized so we can welcome you? Karen. Please.
I'm Karen Mason, and I'm a friend of Andy, and I'm a friend of Jean.
Karen Mason.
And I'm a friend of Karen's and Andy's.
Welcome. Thank you. In our programs, wherever they are, there's a little sliver in there. It's a little communication connection thing. If you want to fill it out and hand it to somebody or drop it in the offering plate, and we'll put you on our mailing list or our email list, our listserv. Do we have any birthdays or anniversaries anybody wants to celebrate? Yes.
Today is my 66th birthday.
Come on. Let's sing happy birthday to Kathy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you. Nancy? All right. Okay. Happy birthday to Nancy.
I celebrated my 30th birthday in this congregation before we were ever here, and I'll be 76 this week.
Happy birthday. in the pink songbook, page 88. You just can't make it by yourself.
88.
88. Page 88. Rise in body and spirit, however you're willing and able. Page 88.
No, you just can't make it by yourself. No, you just can't make it by yourself. God and others is your brother. You just can't make it by yourself. Well, you really can't make it by yourself. Well, the rich can't make it by themselves. When the world is on fire, left in the hands of not so high, they just can't make it by themselves. And the poor can't make it by themselves. Well, the poor can't make it by themselves. Well, the big shot can't make it by herself. Well, the big shot can't make it by herself. What the good is no one has seen. The big can't make it by herself.
Life is a hard battle anyway, and if we laugh and sing a little as we fight the good fight of freedom, it makes it all go easier. Sojourner Truth. Yeah. Okay, so we're celebrating our congregation has been here for 46 years. Starting off in a house in Decatur, Reverend Lanier Clance and his trusted allies, Nancy Zuma, Pauline Rose Clance, and others that he gathered along the way. Yeah, we met in a home in Decatur for a year, I guess. And then we moved to the Y. And we met there for, I guess, a few years. And we kept growing and growing. And one of the things that I loved was that the music kept getting better and better. So, I want to, if I could get Bill Laney to bring me that list of founders up here, that would be very helpful. So I won't forget anything. Good song. Nancy Zuma. Pauline Rose Clance. Betsy Henderson, I don't know where she is. Sharon Mathis. Jean Heinrich. Bill Laney. Carol Harder. Bill Reed. Jeannie Stoll. Suzanne Kahn. And Lanier Clance. Roger Presley. Rita Williams. Al and Betty Jo Armstead. Louise Courtney. Have I forgotten anybody? I don't think so. Okay. Well, good for us. And I'm going to get Nancy. She said she would. Hello. Say a few words. Right.
Okay. Jeannie asked Pauline and me each to say a couple of sentences. So I thought that meant since Pauline couldn't be here, I could say 4 today. So I said 4 sentences. And some of them maybe run on sentences. I don't know. I've been reminiscing a lot, thinking about that, and 2 things have come to my mind. This is the beginning of my first run-on sentence. One was how young we all were. We were like all of us. The older ones were in their late 30s, and the young ones were just pushing 30. And thinking of, how much creativity was here then. And then at the other end of it, I thought, when I was here for Martha Renfro Garner's service, and saw how many of all of us old-timers came out, and thinking how much this community has held together over such a long time, and that was just incredibly moving. And I thought, what's kept us together? And of course, the existentialist philosophy was the foundation of it. But also the singing, the theater, the dancing, the arts, the drama, and the political activism. I was remembering a small group of us demonstrating in 1978 when Anita Bryant came to town with her homophobia that she was bringing to town. And we weren't but half a dozen of us in the whole congregation, and we marched against her. And later, members of the congregation went up to Forsyth County protest the racism there. Joe, I think you were there, weren't you?
All
And I
right.
think about
Yeah.
I see Lorraine, and I think about that. I think about Carol Gallagher demonstrating in Abigail State, thank you.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that on the one hand, we have all of this art and celebration, but so important that is this activism that they're not separated, even with the dances that Patton is bringing us. It's there, and I'm thinking that someone who I believe is Emma Goldman said, if I can't dance
At the
at the revolution, I'm not coming. And I think that's going to be our theme. So, thank you.
I'd like to call Marcia Mitchner up now for a few sentences. Marcia is our fellowship minister. So Marcia.
Great to see everybody here today. Foundation, a basis upon which something stands or is supported. An underlying base or support, a body or ground upon which something is built up or overlaid. What we have here is an awesome foundation. We have this physical space built by Antioch East, which is such a beautiful space that we are stewards of. But the founders that came and actually had their the thought of creating this kind of community in a time when there was a lot of when people were really searching and not finding answers. I was one of those. I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church, and I was a very active member. But when I got old enough to start asking questions, the leadership and others were not able to give me answers that felt like real answers. They were like platitudes. And as that kept going, then I became negative about the teachings and became estranged from the church. But that was a part of me that was really missing because of that distance. When I came here in 1980, I found a place where I could ask those questions. And people were open to those questions. And we sat and we discussed those questions. I didn't always get the answer that maybe I wanted or expected, but it was the fact that we all came together as a way of searching and to communicate with each other and help one another along our own individual path as we were searching for answers. We're still doing that today. We've got this great foundation, and like Nancy said, we were really young then. Guess what? We're not young now. Except for that young man right back there. So it's really important for us to reach out, to others and to help others to understand what a wonderful organization that we have, what a wonderful community that we have, and to help people to come in and experience the kind of joy and fellowship and stimulation and music and dance and I'm very grateful that you're here, and I hope that you will continue to come, and I hope that you will speak out, tell others about us, and start bringing folks. Let's get some other people in these seats, and younger people. Nothing against us our age, but we need some young blood. So thank you for coming.
Do you detect a theme? Gosh, at this time, I'd like to introduce Ted Pettus, who's going to have some words for us and invite us to join him in song. Yes, yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ted Pettus, also on stage known as Peter Jeremiah Jones. I'll explain why in a little while. One of the first songs I ever wrote was with Andy here, and we were both members of this strange group of people, the First Existentialist congregation. And so, anyway, when you start, sometimes you take somebody else's melody and put your own words to it. So this one is to the Beach Boys, California Girls, but it's Existentialist Girls. And everyone is invited to get up and dance.
Is this in the new songbook?
But you'll be able to sing along with the chorus just automatically. Just California Girls who plays Existentialist Girls. So. What's up? Oh no! Wait, come on, this is my song. Sorry, very good. I was going to do rainbow connection. Okay. Lutheran girls are here, I get it, deep across the bed. And the Catholic girls in the jeans and legs, they got the house clean and then the Methodist mentally gone to really make you feel alright. And the Pentecostals really speak in tongues, they keep the boys up all night. I wish they all could be existentialist girls. I wish they all could be existentialist girls. Existentialists have the soul shine and their essence so refined. I take a French bouquet, a turtleneck, a book of Nietzsche, who better mine? I take all kinds of dogma from religions around the world, but if existence precedes the lesson, I take a rooted existentialist girl. I wish they all could be existentialist girls. I wish they all could be existentialist girls. I wish they all could be existentialist girls.
going to bring us a Teddy talk.
Thank you, Gene. I'm going to pretend like I have notes. Oh, my goodness. So, welcome. Today's theme of Founders Day is creativity. And, you know, I came to Atlanta. I came back to Atlanta in '96 as a postdoctoral fellow in anatomy and neuroscience at Emory. And I don't know, I've always wanted to be creative. I've always followed music. I've always loved artwork. But I had never really made a visual art beyond a tie-dye t-shirt or some science illustrations I did. And I played harmonica my whole life, but I hadn't really, you know, composed music or played with a band or anything. And so how does it start? You know, I think I had creative energy bound up in me that was being released in other ways. I always thought of the science I was doing as creative. And my advisor in graduate school actually was really adamant about us presenting aesthetically very good photographs of our microscopic pictures we took. So this is an electron micrograph in the main picture, and so those kind of swollen vacuoles are actually unhealthy mitochondria, that energy house of your cell. And so that's like 50 microns or something, so it's really teeny tiny. It's teeny tiny. There's little fibers in it are 10 micron or 15 micron. So anyway, good time for that. And then I was real proud, like I got some pictures on the cover of a big journal there. And anyway, yeah. I guess I brewed beer too, but that's different. But it was when I started coming here to First Existentialist, it was amazing, like the creativity of the people here, and just getting up and talking during service and all that was quite liberating as well. And I'll never forget our art guild chairperson at the time was Linda Yates, and she was bringing in some fun stuff, and it was actually her own stuff that she was showing, some collage. And I was looking at it, I really loved it, and I was like, I could do that. It was one of the first, I was used to seeing figures and beautiful paintings and stuff that I just couldn't imagine I could ever do. And I was like, man, I could cut things out and glue them together and make cool things. So I talked to Linda about it, and it also was at a time that I was going through a lot of stress on the job and stuff, and I don't think I had good escape from it. And so I would, once a week, get on the bicycle and head on over to Linda's house, because she had everything laid out in a great studio, and I took lessons from her. And I found that when I was trying to be creative, when I was in a creative space like that, one thing you do is you shut out the rest of the world. And I was able to do that. You know, I committed the time, I'm going to be there. It doesn't do me good to think about all that stress at work. I'm just here in this science room gluing things on the paper and making some pretty cool collages.
All right.
Yeah. So first week kind of got opened up, and I was kind of like opening a valve. And the next thing you know, I'm like in Ashley Davis's painting class and learning about color blending and all this, which like all kinds of things. And also at the same time, I found that what drove me to be creative in the early stages was really just getting my mind off of other things. I don't know that it was so much the product. I started playing guitar because I ordered something from a Macintosh catalog on a CD or a disc or something that showed you how to do a guitar. And I'd be sleepless at night and then go in the back room and look at the computer and learn how to, and I was like, if I could just learn 3 chords, I'll be satisfied. That's all I ever want to learn. Anyway, then they greedy. But as soon as I learned 3 chords, I'd always been writing poetry, so I kind of put that together and came up with some early on 3-chord songs. I'll just give a little demo of one. This is on the program. We don't know. So my wife over there, Amy, she hates to be called out, but we've got to thank her. Thank you, Amy, for giving me the idea of this first song. She used to always call me Monkey, and I call her Monkey. And we said all things about that. But I'm just going to go through one verse of this because it's a sing-along, and you'll know how to sing it whether you've heard the song or not. Are you a monkey? I'm a monkey too. This thing's like a wild monkey. some people do. I don't know, like, you can do anything with a song. That's one of the cool things is, as a scientist on the job, I think it is very creative, but you have some strict protocols and confines within which you're operating. And I suddenly found when I was doing this, it just didn't matter. You can do anything. And that was kind of how I started calling myself Cletus Jeremiah Jones, because I would find myself writing a song and go like, you know, I don't know what my parents would think or my boss would think. Have you ever heard this song? So I was watching Stephen Colbert all the time, and he was doing that fake character back then on the Colbert Show. I was like, I could just do that. It's not really me. I mean, it's something that is me, but if someone confronts me about it, I say, that's not really me. That's my alter ego who wrote the song. So I found that to be quite liberating. I mean, I don't think a lot of purist artists would say, you know, it's got to be you. Maybe it is me, but I got to keep that hidden. Maybe I'm not as brave as some people. But it's a good technique if you ever want to capitalize on that. So I was talking about I've been talking about so far my creative journey, but I wanted to, it makes you think about what is creativity and how does it come out, how do you nurture it. So I wanted to say something else on 2 slides ahead, Yeah. This has been a symbol for my band that we've used, and I actually literally co-opted it from an artist who had already made it for other reasons, but he let me do that. Sometimes I think he regrets it a little bit, but we've had great fun with this. And you know what? It means, I've talked about it with the artist, and, you know, said what it means to me, and then he said a lot of things that I can't even recall. Everything he does, it's Rob Seven, is the artist who made this, and everything he does, there's like 15 additional layers of thought and connectivity that I didn't get, but we get a lot out of it regardless. And so what it is, the parts that I get and really cherish are kind of a little bit scientific. Because in science and analysis and art criticism, we always want to break it down. We want to pull it apart and measure and put numbers on it. And that's kind of what he's making a mockery of here. So you've got the heart at the middle, and you've got these vectors symbolizing like the directions that the heart might pull you, and you know, the heart, like the artistic heart. And so in physics, you draw arrows on an XY axis, and you do different length of arrows. So like, say this short arrow would be a small force, that would be a big force. So diagonally, it would, a line symbolized by this would be like that. Anyway, he took them all at 45 degree angles. He put all these measurement kind of things up here, but if you look at them carefully, they're absolute nonsense. There's nothing to them. They look like a little at first glance, but they are not. And then these numbers are meaningless. It's just to symbolize some scientific code and measure you've done, and everyone thinks like, oh, that's really mean. So the idea I wanted to really express there was the heart and the direction that it can take you. So another thing that symbolizes that for me is what I'm wearing right here, about the same artist actually, but it's an eyeball over your heart. And the idea being emphasized that the mind doesn't get in the way of your creative spirit that's coming out. That's what happened to me anyway. My mind gets in the way all the time. If I can just focus on whatever creative energy might be channeling through me, it feels like it comes out the heart. So the eyeball is there, but it also is always a gamble, this kind of expression. So it's on a poker chip, and it's on a brush, so you're just ready to create it when you do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to play a song or two with most of the rest of my time here. And
Great.
so I wanted to mention how a song comes to me sometimes. I mean, one thing I do is, I started late in life on this, so I stand on the shoulders of giants. Great people play with me. I can't believe the people who play in my band. But you also get inspiration from other people's songs. And this is one of my favorite songs I've written. It's called Jesus Is Coming. I got it partly from Glenn Lopez, a photograph he had of a bumper sticker that said, Jesus is coming, look busy. Yeah. And the other part, so that's another first D connection. The other part was I pulled into my driveway, hearing what I thought was one of the coolest songs and various metaphors. And so I went inside to Google it, and I had it completely wrong. That is not what the words were. So I was like, well, I got some lyrics. And it was a Fair and Young song, so I put Fair and Young in the song. Just thank you a little bit. Jesus is coming. Look busy. Jesus is coming and it won't be stopping too long. So you better look busy and quit all that carrying on. You're gonna ride on the cherry, oh, I'm gonna Tennessee stuff. And find classy angels around the wings of the dove. You live your life, knowing what the angels did sing. It's the 21st century, the second coming of the King. You're gonna ride on the cherry, oh, my 20 Tennessee stuff. And to find lots of angels around on the wings of the dove. Gonna break from my body, for my blood, just a little cold wine. I got some catching up to do. I've been on quite a long time. I love me some saints, hell, I love me some sinners too. I gotta love everybody and no one's passing through. So when the kings and cornbread and boy, just a little moonshine. No more water's got to be fired this time. When the kings and cornbread and boy, just a little moonshine. No more water's gotta be fired this time. Jesus is coming and it won't be stopping too long. So you better look busy and quit all that carrying on. You're gonna check for my 20 Tennessee stuff. And to find lots of angels riding on the wings of the dove. This is the verse I skipped right. Let's get back to the verse. He said, I don't like fish or multiplying all grain bread. He said, I've been around before. I've even been a little bit dead. Played Rob Johnson, I sang with the Grateful Dead. But the family young drinking's on the really good stuff in my head. So baby, keep the cornbread pouring just a little moonshine. No more water's got to be fired this time. Baby, keep the cornbread pouring just a little moonshine. No more water's gotta be fired this time. Jesus is coming and it won't be stopping too long. So you better look busy and quit all that carrying on. You're gonna ride on the chair, pull my 20 Tennessee stuff. And to find lots of angels riding the wings of the dove. I said to find lots of angels riding the wings of the dove. All right, thank you, Richard. All right, we got time for one more song, and this is a great one for being in the congregation here. It's about an Appalachian snake handler, and
Actually, we're going to do this song Ted is talking about with the offering. So, yeah, no, that's good. So if I can get a couple of people to come up here and pass the plates, that'd be great. And Remember to consider that we are never more aware of how much we have than when we give something to somebody else. It heightens our awareness of how, well, really privileged and lucky we are. So, give what you can, but remember to take care of yourself. Give what you can, but do not give more than you can. Okay, Ted, thank you.
Yeah. And also, Kate is passing out snakes. If anyone feels so inclined, you can prove your faith by grabbing a snake. I love the premise of Appalachian snake handlers, but in the Bible it says if you have faith strong enough, you can walk among snakes and drink poison. So there are churches where they actually keep rattlesnakes, and you can grab a snake when you feel faith. But this is about a preacher. Yeah, you can read about preachers dying every now and then, the snake handlers. But then I turned it around and said this is a preacher whose wives keep dying. And so therefore you question faith and all that. And when we're coming to the chorus, ain't got snakes, everyone can say, ain't got snakes. Together, you'll catch one. Or not, yeah, or not. Or just don't do whatever the heck you want.
Thank you.
Yes. But everybody's gotta be. It ain't what they ain't got snakes. And I'll be up a deeper. In the mirror, just my baby. Me and my first wife living we used to teach at the Sunday school. She looks sweet, what up, snakes her feet. She made me act just like a fool. So I picked one up and I kissed it. When I smacked it on the cheek. I was back out to the blue. Who got bit by the rattlesnake teeth? It ain't delicious. Well, if it ain't got a snake. I don't wanna sit in no Sunday school, but everybody's gotta be saved. It ain't religious, whatever it ain't, got a snake. How can I be a believer? Even when it just my oh, she left me for the Lord above. Now she watches me from up there. I know that she'd be okay with me when Jamie and the devil met there. First time I took Jamie to Sunday school, she got bit, and to my surprise, that little snake was looking back at me with loose faraway eyes. It ain't religion, well if it ain't got a snake. I don't wanna sit in no Sunday school where everybody's gotta be saved. It ain't religion, what if it ain't got a snake? I gotta be a believer, even there to give it to my face. This is in the songbook that we're slipping in. New song. Now I see their eyes in the faces of every single rattlesnake. Why can't throw that join them? And it's all my ever. Now those snakes that big and every girl is coming on every song. You can never ever take my place. Me and my brand new wife, Betty too, she's second cousin to Betty Lou. We keep things the same. Well, that I shouldn't on her too. I get one kiss a moon and I go away. Show no business back. Now I'm running into that light. I'm not sure I'm coming back. It ain't religion. Well, it ain't got snakes. I don't wanna visit no Sunday school where everybody's gotta be saved. It ain't religion. Well, it ain't got snakes. How can I do up on your mind if it never ever touches my
Dear Ted, and Craig. This is the time this is the time today in our service. Okay. Everything's so hot up here. Where we take time to be with each other in silence. Meditate, pray, clear your mind, breathe deeply. And let us just sit together for a few moments. Just wave at us and smile, okay? I'm thrilled to be able to introduce one of our foundations, D. Patton White.
Thank you, Jean, and it's been a wonderful celebration of our Founders Day celebration for today. I'm going to make keep my remarks very brief because I want my creativity to speak for itself in the video that I'm going to share. And just to give you fair warning, it's about 16 minutes long, and so we are definitely going to be running over past 12:30 today. But it's one of the last things that we're going to be doing today as well. So, Ted, your artistic or creative journey, I would say, I have some similar moments, and so I'm going to introduce this video by proposing to see it as a collage of sorts. Instead of printed images, it's moving images, and the way that they are assembled brings together my love for photography and movement and light and sound and nature. There is no narrative. If we think of this as more like a choreo poem, a poem of movement, of kinetic forces of nature, that sort of thing, just let it wash over you. Right. Don't force yourself to try to find meaning. Let it just arise. So as the credits roll, I'll also say that this is very much a collaboration between myself, the performers, as well as the composer, and each of us had our own ways of contributing. One of the things that is most important to me as a dance maker is really trying to get as close into this idea of relationships. So how we started off the celebration of life today with Jean talking about none of us are alone here. We can't do this by ourselves, but it is about how we interact with one another and how that interaction brings meaning to our lives individually through that interaction.
Wow. I invite you to stand. We're going to create some more music. Our closing song. Wow. God. Oh, how perfect. Page 115 in the pink songlet. 115, Rainbow Connection, and rise in body and spirit as you're willing and able. Wow. Woo. Page 115.
The voice might be more than
Nothing else matters much, not wealth, nor learning, nor even health, without this gift, the spiritual capacity to keep zest in living. This is the creed of creeds, the ability to believe in life. Yeah! Amor fati! Amor fati! Hey, join us for, and eat and gather